What's up, motherfucker? You don't know how to play against the CaroPirc? That's your video. The video I'm going to show you how to beat the CaroPirc. So easy. This is so easy. It's simple, like I do yesterday and like I do 2 weeks ago in another classic tournament. I'm playing. I made in a challenge of reach 28 of rating on CS:GO in 45 days. And in the second day, I played 10 games. I won 5 and I lost 5. And my opponent have less rating than me, so finally I lost 15 points of rating. But I'm going to show us my best game of yesterday, who was this CaroPirc. So let's start with the video. Okay, I open with e4, d6, d4, bishop d7, knight c3, and here c6, the CaroPirc. Okay, the Pirc is g6, bishop g7, and the Caro-Kann was c6, d5. So if you mix both things, is the CaroPirc. Okay, easy. Okay, c6. Now the black idea is d5. That's the that's the black plan. And now I'm going to show you how to play against that. Here I will move h3. Very uncommon. So probably you are going to surprise your opponent with this move. Okay, your opponent is going to follow his idea of d5, and now we're going to play e5. Okay, um, okay. I not want to tell us many theory. I prefer to focus in the opening, but in Sestao 1 month ago, I have an opponent who played me e6, and here I play very good move h4. Okay, you can look strange that I'm moving the h2 pawn 2 times in 5 moves, but have an idea is that black here is a so bad place because the idea of this opening was play with f6. So if your opponent plays a6, now the correct plan and the idea of h3 too is blockade the g4 square for the bishop and can develop the knight to f3. But with the pawn on e6, this bishop is never can go to e4. So now the pawn on h3 have no sense, and now the correct plan was h4 followed by h5. So okay, f6 is the move that all of your opponents are going to make. That's the normal move. And here you are going to defend the pawn with f4. Okay, here my opponent takes so fast on e5, but let's see what happens with knight a6, who is the main move. After knight a6, here the best was d4, covering the 5 square basically. And always, if he takes, we're going to take with the d pawn. Knight f7, knight f3. So castle, queen e2. Okay, and here black have some move, but the only more or less important was queen b6. Attacking the b2 pawn and not allowing my bishop to be developed. Doesn't matter, we're going to develop the bishop equally. Queen take b2, okay, take the pawn. I develop another piece. I'm developing all the pieces and you have all your pieces on b8, on c8, and this bishop and this knight blockaded. So queen a3, and now great move to develop the last piece that are undeveloped, queen d2. The idea is simply leave the d3 square for the bishop. And now I suppose that all of you know who is the plan here, but the plan was h4, h5, and checkmate your opponent's king, followed then by maybe queen h3 and queen h7. And okay, black have a pawn up. I completely prefer the white position. Okay, I want to show how the machine says because okay, maybe you don't believe me. Here the machine give uh, Stockfish 15, 1 point of advantage for white. 1 point. So that's a great position. So now I can close. Okay. And the orders are more or less simple because always with white is the same plan. Maybe your opponent instead of take first on e5, plays knight f7. Doesn't matter, knight f3. That's it, okay, queen e2. And when you take, I'm going to take always with the d pawn. The orders are so simple. And okay, if you don't develop the queen to b6, I'm going to just develop normal the bishop, bishop e3, bishop d2, long castle, and play then h4, h5, or play bishop e3, long castle, followed by queen d2, the same plan, bishop d3, and attacking the king side. And let's see the black pieces are completely blockaded. The g7 bishop and the f7 knight is completely blockaded. And be ready to sacrifice in the center if it's necessary. That's an advice. Later in the game, you are going to see why I say that. Okay, he took on e5 so early, and here was slightly better to take with the f1. And after knight a6, not play g4, just play with bishop f4. Knight f7, just bishop and knight f3. That's the machines prefer this a little bit. But okay, I play that I know, what I know, and trying to transpose to the lines that I know. He takes, knight e6, and here was better bishop e3, and knight f5, bishop f2, d4, knight d4. But okay, I just transpose to the lines that I know. So I know that this position was +1, and I enter in that, following my idea, who sometimes is better than make the best move, but without a clear plan. Here I completely know that d4 was here a good move, and here we have the advantage. So castle, knight d3, knight d7, I just following my plan. And here, okay, he played knight d7 instead of knight f7. So here I decide to just not allow my opponent to to develop the queen to b6, who is a good plan. Okay, queen e2 was possible too, queen b6, and here the best wasn't sacrifice, the best here was a4, who is a typical move to against queen b6. Yeah, a4 against queen b6 is always completely useful, uh, followed by a5. But okay, here I play bishop e3, good move, just covering the b6 square and not allowing my opponents to enter there. Bishop e3, e6, good move. I play bishop d2. Knight e2 was the other good move. Uh, but knight e2 was so passive because, okay, now black is coming maybe with c5, d4 was the black idea. So, okay, I can go back with the knight to just defend that, but this is a so passive play. And the idea of this video, apart of show us how to play against the CaroPirc, is show us how to play active, specifically when your opponent have the pieces and development. And in rapid game used to be good idea to play active. So for that reason, I of course I saw that my opponent is coming with c5, d4, but I decided to defend that in an active way. I decided bishop d2, inviting my opponent to play c5 because I have an idea against c5. Bang! Sacrifice of the knight. Knight takes d5, pawn takes, queen d5, king h8, and just castle. There are no concrete moves, just castle, a quiet move. But now let's see the position. The knight on h6 misplaced. There is not making nothing. The bishop on g7 blockaded. This bishop blockaded. This knight is pinned. This pawn hanging. And he only have one piece. And for the piece I have two pawns, more active pieces, and a great pawn structure which completely blockading his pieces. I'm completely better here. The material is not important. It's only one piece for two pawns. But what pieces? No, this knight only counts like 1 point. This, I have a queen in the center. His king is unsafe. I have ideas now with knight g5, knight d7, knight g5, knight d6. e6 now is a threat because this knight is pinned. So now white is winning. I hope that you're understanding the position because this is not about calculate variation. Some people think that the master calculate 20 moves forward. Okay, sometimes we calculate, but sometimes it's just about understand the position. Let's examine the position and see what black have the pieces and why what white have the pieces. Just it's not only about the material. Let's see white have his pieces well placed on f3. His bishop is normal on g2. The long diagonal, the knight normal on f3, bishop normal, the queen active, the rook in the open file. And let's examine how black have the pieces. And the safety of the kings used to be important too. And apart is a piece against two pawns, but what two pawns? The f4 and the e5 pawn, who are very strong pawns. Okay, queen e7, knight g5. Now the idea of knight g5 is just enter to e6, for example, and just open this bishop. This knight move have many idea, but specifically is enter on e6, defend knight f7 because now knight f7 I have some idea that never I don't apply. I open my bishop, so knight d5 good move. Knight f7, and here I had a winning move that I completely miss. who is queen e6. Queen e6 is just winning the game. Because, okay, I'm threatening takes 27. That's his only move, of course. He cannot, he cannot make nothing. Just, he should take. Knight takes. Now I attack in the rook. I enter on c7. And the other idea is that when I move the knight, I'm threatening e6. So for example, let's see what happens if he moves the rook. Rook g8, for example. Here, of course, I can take here and play e6. For example, take or just knight c7, followed by e6, and I threatening a rook. And then I'm going to play e6, threatening two pieces. So here I just win. Or for example, knight b6, here knight c7, and just bishop c5. And I'm of course completely winning here. And yes, queen e6 was the only winning move. Knight f7 was a possibility, but black have resources here. Rook f7, e6, knight f8, sacrifice the rook, but taking my dark square bishop. King b1, queen f4, and the position starting to no so clear. But okay, white is still better here, thanks to the f7 pawn, but okay, this bishop now was also active. That's the difference between this position. The g7 bishop is completely misplaced. But after I play here and e6, now this position turns into life and the position was so complicated. So the winning move was simply queen e6. I play instead of that h4, who can be more or less refuted by knight b6. Here I plan to, my plan was knight queen c5 just only, but after queen e8, black have his bishop open, this knight is open, more or less is attacking g4, and now the position is now so clear. h5, bishop here, knight h7, rook c8, queen b4, bishop take, and rook take with a slightly advantage for white of course, as also difficult position. Instead of that, my opponent made a losing mistake, just take on e5, trying to open his pieces, but okay, he's just giving back the piece. In the past, he won a piece for 2 pawns, so now he back the piece for my 2 pawns. What's the problem? That is a part of the these 2 pawns, I still have more development than my opponent. So after he give me back the material, I still having the advantage. Knight takes e5, it takes queen e5. This move, I think 1 minute in a game of 3 minutes plus 2 seconds because I didn't see that he's attacking on b2 until the last moment. So of course I should take. Queen b3 is possible, but take here was better. And now 95 was of course the move. Okay, giving this pawn, but rook d1. Now you're going to take on g4, bishop b7, and white is better here. Instead of that, he played a completely losing move, bishop e5, because okay, you should develop your piece with black. Doesn't matter if you lose a pawn, but you should develop if you want to defend. And here, okay, many moves win, but just h5, trying to take on e7 with the rook and open because I have the 4 pieces active, the rook on d1, the bishop, the other bishop, and the knights are active pieces, but the only no active piece was the rook. And during the game, I was thinking to play rook f1 or rook e1 to try to active the rook, but I just, no. The rook is active on h1. The only thing that I need to do is open the rook with h5. We move bishop f4, takes, h take g6, rook g4, rook a7, king j8, bishop d5. Now it's just checkmate. So I really like this game. I play with so energy, and yes, I just play so in an energetic way, attacking the opponent's king, sacrificing a piece in the center, and I hope that you learn how to play against the CaroPirc. That's I won 1 month ago. I won a game. It's a start with more or less the same line, but my opponent play e6 instead of f6, and then I play h4, and then I pass all the pieces to attack. So I'm going to give us the link of this game if you still want to improve more your skill against the CaroPirc. So let's continue with the challenge. Yesterday I lost 16 point rating, so today I hope to still increase my rating. Bye bye, motherfuckers.